Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, my name is Vanessa Somuayina and I'm going to be guiding you through your October love predictions. So for today's pick a card tarot reading that focuses on the topic of love during the month of October, I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. And I recommend that you go with whichever group that you intuitively feel drawn towards. Don't overthink it. Your instinct and your intuition know best. So let me introduce you to the 4 groups. Group number 1 corresponds to the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck as well as the Rose Quartz Crystal. Group number 2 corresponds to the Oriens Animal Tarot as well as the Clear Quartz Crystal. Group number 3 corresponds to the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck as well as the Howlite Crystal. And group number 4 corresponds to the Tazama African Tarot deck as well as the Aqua Aura Crystal. But the timestamps to all 4 of these groups can be found below in the description box as well as pinned to the top of the comment section for quick and easy access from your mobile devices as well. So all you need to do is click your timestamp and you'll be fast forwarded to the relevant portion of this video where you can receive your October love predictions. Furthermore, all of my handmade crystal rings and also my tarot decks can be found linked in the description box as well, as I know a lot of you are interested in the crystals and the divination tools, so you can find all the information in the description box. So yeah, you guys, I don't want to spend too much time within the intro. As you know, your big general monthly predictions are on their way as well, but today we're going to be focusing on the topic of love in this pick a card reading. So I'll be starting off your readings with the first group, which corresponds to the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck and the Rose Quartz Point. So if this is the group that you chose, then please continue watching. And to all of my other beautiful groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. You chose the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck as well as the Rose Quartz Crystal Point in order for us to figure out exactly what's coming towards your love life during the month of October. So this is a beautiful Rose Quartz Crystal Point. Let's just do a close-up so you can get acquainted with its energy and vibration through the screen. This is actually a crystal of love and friendship, so you may have just felt drawn to this stone intuitively because somehow your inner knowing knew that this is a stone that brings more love into your life, but maybe this is also a crystal that you're familiar with and you just want more of its energy within your existence. Either way, excellent choice, group number 1. Now let's move into your reading with your oracle deck, shall we? I love the Sacred Rebels deck. This is one of my favorites at the moment, I must say. Let's see what we've got. First up, we've got releasing allegiances. So I do see here for you, group number 1, that any loyalties that you had with someone emotionally, romantically, anything that isn't rooted in reciprocity is going to be let go of. So think of people whom you always give attention to or you always give your love to, and you feel like the same energy just doesn't come back. Think of someone whom you had like a huge crush on or you still have a huge crush on, and whenever they text you, you get so giddy and excited and you just want to text them back, but you got to play it cool, so you wait a little longer than you actually really would, but you just don't feel that same energy back when they reply. You feel like they just truly reply whenever they want to reply you. There's like no really excited energy there about you, and it's just like more of a one-way street of love and excitement. And that's where I can see here that any of these types of connections will be released in October for you. I'm also sensing that you're releasing any allegiances where you feel like you're the worker bee and the other people are just kind of constantly dipping into the pot of honey that you're trying to amass and put together. And this is at work as well, right? If you've got coworkers or even bosses who constantly just come to pick up all the work that you've done and just come whenever it benefits them. And they kind of take credit for some things where credit isn't due for them, but credit is more due for you. That's where I can see that you're releasing those connections. You're kind of letting go of anybody and any relationship that isn't rooted in reciprocity and rooted in people appreciating you to the extent that they really should. Next up, we've got new birth, guarded vigilantly. So I do see here that while there may be a new birth that's literally happening around you, this new birth makes a lot of sense with releasing allegiances, right? Because it's like you're starting a new chapter. It's like a new birth of yourself, group number one, and a new birth of who you are during the month of October, romantically speaking. Not being okay with people just giving you some crumbs. You want the whole slice. You want the whole loaf. You're not going to be okay with people just giving you little bits and pieces that they're okay with parting with because it means nothing to them. I see here within you guarding yourself vigilantly, there's this newfound sense of understanding how much worth that your love really holds and carries, and also the fact that your love has an infinite kind of price tag on it, and actually really living that, really transforming. We've got this butterfly here within your reading as well, and this new growth of a new kind of little tree or new little shrub here. So do know that this transformation and this growth just shows overall that you're getting to know yourself better, and that you have it in you to walk away. And when you have it in you to turn your back on a situation and to walk away from relationships that aren't serving you, people automatically respect you more. People automatically are a lot more careful with the words and mannerisms that they use around you, because they know that you are not afraid to remove yourself. You're not afraid to lose them. You're not afraid to remove yourself from a situation that is abusive, even if that means that you walk alone. So these cards are rather like gray, right? We've got a little bit of green details for growth. We've got a little bit of gold here for self-worth. But now we've got more color for you for the month of October. The word wants to be written. I see here that during the month of October, the most love potent moments are going to be written. So text messages, maybe even a handwritten note or letter. If you are single, I want you to know here that the most exciting thing that's happening in love for you during the month of October is going to come to you via text. And it's definitely going to make you feel so illuminated. It's going to make you feel like it was definitely worth taking distance from people who don't appreciate you to the degree that you know you deserve to be appreciated. And furthermore, I also want you to know here within the word wants to be written that it's great to just save like screenshots of really amazing, lovely messages that people have sent to you, because it can just brighten up a bad day if you're going through something. If you go through these messages that you screenshotted and saved, to just kind of remind yourself like, hey, I really actually am loved and cared for. If you are in a relationship, know here within the word wants to be written, the best thing you can do for your relationship is to write down how you feel, and that can really allow you to also move on from a lot of grudges that you may have been holding. Because I do see here within the new birth and guarded vigilantly, as well as releasing allegiances, that there is definitely a little bit of grudge holding that's going on in your relationship, in this romantic situation, that everyone can benefit from just kind of letting go of, and of starting on a completely fresh slate. But in order to do so, there has to be a little bit of vulnerability. And I see here within the word wants to be written that that's like a perfect opportunity to show yourself from a vulnerable side, and also for your partner to show themselves to you from a vulnerable side as well. If you write each other notes about how you truly feel about points of friction and arguments that you've had and disagreements, and you write it out, you promise one another not to hold grudges, not to get even more mad, and not to take it personally, and then you move on from it, right? You move on from letting out everything about how you feel about what you've been through, but then moving on to something that's transformative, that is more colorful, where you can leave the past where it belongs, in the past, but at least you've let it go, you've let it out, and you're not going to repeat the same patterns. Next up, we've got defend to the end the worthwhile. So I do see here for you, group number 1, that a relationship that is meant to be in your life, that you're meant to defend, you will intuitively know what relationship this is, and it won't fall into this category of feeling as though you have to let go or feeling as though there's no reciprocity here. So don't be afraid that you may get rid of a relationship during the month of October that's actually meant to be, or that's actually meant to stick around. That's not something that's going to happen. I want you to know here that being so fierce and being someone who will defend another person to the end, that is definitely something that comes with a little bit of risk as well. So you have to decide who is worthwhile for you. You have to decide exactly what type of people you want to keep in your life, because you will defend them. You will be like that lioness that defends their cub and their family to the end. I also want to add some runes in for you, some crystal runes, group number 1, so we can get more clarity on the defend to the end situation here and who is worthwhile. So let's see what we've got. Okay. So we have a rune that Spirit wants us to decipher for you. Let's do a close-up, group number 1. So here within this rune, we've got Sawilo or Sawulo, however you'd like to call this. This is a rune that represents the sun, that represents strength and that kind of source energy, as well as success and health. So I see that any relationship that makes you feel successful, that makes you feel like you're on top of the world, like you are that person who is just so unconditionally loved and taken care of, those are the type of relationships that are worthwhile and that you want to keep. And the ones that don't have severe lows, I'm not talking about roller coaster relationships where once you feel really high and great and then you feel like you're in the gutter and you feel really low and they're ignoring you and they aren't texting you for days or weeks. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about relationships that offer you emotional stability and continuity, okay? Relationships that you don't have to guess about. You don't have to guess whether this person will be here next week or next month. You just know they're there and you just know they will support you, even if the highs are not as high as with a toxic relationship where there's a lot of infatuation, but there's also a lot of drops in happiness. So this is more of a mature situation that I see here that is worth defending, even if friends and family don't agree with this relationship per se. So I do want to add some letters so we can clarify who this person is, so we can get their initials sorted for you. So let's see what Spirit has for us. Group number 1, we've got the letter S as well as U. So I'll just leave this right here for you as added information when it comes to your situation and your love life. But let's move further into your reading. I'll be using some tarot cards. This is the Fountain Tarot deck for any of you wondering. I really love this deck. I've had it for a long time, but I go through phases of feeling very connected to it, and then this deck also feeling kind of distant in a way. I don't know what it is about it, but it invokes a lot of emotion, and usually I like to work with decks that really speak to me, whether it be in a way that makes me feel like the deck just needs space from me, or whether it be that the deck is actually really speaking to me. I try to just listen to that, and right now this deck really speaks to me, so I know we're going to get some amazing messages about your love life for October. So first up, we've got the moon. Amazing message, here we go. The moon is a major arcana card. In case you didn't know, the moon definitely connects to that divine feminine side, and I want you to know here within the moon that it also connects to Pisces. It is a very intuitive type of symbol. The moon is also responsible for your sensitivity, for the nurturing side of you. So I definitely see that when it comes to your love life during the month of October, there's a lot of receptivity. You are definitely the one who is receiving kind words, written words that are nice, that make you feel loved. Maybe even someone confessing their love to you, someone confiding in you how much they care about you, how much they love you. And furthermore, I do also see here within the moon that we've got this connection to your intuition that is at an all-time high when it comes to love. So listen to your intuition above all else, especially during the month of October. All my beautiful souls of group number 1, your intuition knows best. Next up, we've got the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands is definitely someone who is excited for life. This is someone who is very creative, enthusiastic, very confident. And the Page of Wands can sometimes also be a little bit of a troublemaker, okay? Someone that can bring drama into situations. But I see here within your reading that the Page of Wands represents someone who is infatuated by you. So whether you're single or in a relationship, I wouldn't be surprised if the Page of Wands is constantly texting you, emailing you, calling you, or trying to reach out to you, maybe even sending you like emojis and like gifts and reels and stuff on Instagram, and trying to get closer to you as they sense that you're someone who is worth keeping when it comes to love, and they kind of want to try their shot with you. They want to see where things can go. Next up, within the Five of Swords, I do see here that this is a fun relationship, a fun connection in October, but this is not the one here with the Page of Wands, and that's okay. And I hope that you can appreciate my honesty in all my readings, group number 1. I want you to have the full overview of what's happening, not just what people perceive to be the best parts. Sometimes these fleeting romances or just people being infatuated with us, sometimes that can be important too. That can sometimes be a boost to your self-confidence and your ego. And I definitely feel like let's not pretend like that can't feel good. We're all human. Of course, we're trying to embrace less ego and more source, more of just being our authentic selves, but nevertheless, we all have one. And I do see here in the Five of Swords that by the end of October, the Page of Wands will possibly have kind of figured out that you're not interested in them, that they're kind of is a little bit of a discord here, either because you are already in a relationship or because it's just not working out in that way, because you're just not as attracted to them, and that's okay. Sometimes things are meant to just be situational and are meant to be fleeting. Next up, we've got the Three of Cups. I see here in the Three of Cups that you are so fulfilled during the month of October when it comes to your personal life, when it comes to friends and family, that you don't really need a lover unless they are the one. So if you are single, do know here that this is not a month in which you're necessarily going to find your forever lover. This is not a month in which you're on the lookout for anything specific. This is actually a month where you are finally taking time for yourself and you don't feel at all like you need any type of external love or validation. And this shows where you're at on your journey. This shows a lot of beautiful growth. It shows that you're in a place where there isn't any desperation, group number 1, and this is an amazing setup for success, for love moving forward. If you are in a committed relationship, then it makes a lot of sense as to why you would be spending time with friends and family and nurturing those relationships, as I definitely also see some distance from your partner, some distance from any type of discord that you've had, in order to then come back together more strongly and to write each other those letters, to write one another those beautiful text messages where you really spill out your heart and you say the difficult things, but you also talk about how excited you are for the future moving forward and all of the things that you appreciate in one another. I see here within Pray that there is this kind of sense of just needing space because there has just been too much proximity. That's what I see here within Pray. That's why you need distance from some people in relationships, because You unknowingly, because you're just a nice person, you're just an empath, you opened up about your deepest, most innermost secrets, insecurities about how you really feel about the world and everything that's going on, how you feel about your relationships. And you found that that may have been a mistake because some people use that in order to then put pressure on you or to kind of like show you that they know you very, very well. And that can put a lot of just anxiety on your shoulders because you feel like they know a part of you that you also want space from. You don't want someone bringing it up all the time. Like, yeah, you spoke about some things that really concern you, but that doesn't mean that you want someone holding that over your head all the time. So you need distance from anyone who uses that as a tool or as a weapon, who weaponizes these types of things. Then we've got the monster within. I see here that you want to improve. You want to stay more closed off. And that's not because you are hardening or the world is making you someone who doesn't care or because you're not grateful for the fact that you can feel so deeply. It's more that you are understanding that it's best to keep more private, especially when it also comes to talking about your love life and what you've been through and what you're currently going through, because unfortunately, there are definitely a lot of people who will use this information against you. So within the monster within, I can see that there's a bit of an internal struggle because you're a very open, honest, real person, but at the same time, you also know that it's best for you to keep a lot of things private in order to kind of avoid giving information out to the wrong people. So during the month of October, this is something that you're thinking about and that you're dealing with and that you're kind of meditating over. And group one, give yourself time to do this. This is not something that you learn overnight. I definitely also go through this a lot where, for example, I find that even just telling people what I do professionally speaking, being on YouTube or owning a business and having, crystal jewelry, tarot decks, things like that, all of a sudden, like, you just give people one little bit of information, whether it be like at a hospital or in some sort of other setting, and all of a sudden you hear like everyone knows about it, everyone's talking about it, even though you only shared this information with like one person. And it's kind of upsetting because that's not the point. You just answered the question, you just wanted to be open, but you didn't want to invite discussions that you weren't a part of, that were discussions about you, right? Group number one. So that's where it's sometimes really great to just be vague and to not even put yourself in a situation where you're overthinking what others are now doing with the information that you provided them with. Next up, we've got the daisy. So the daisy is encouraging you to find that balance between being yourself and also keeping your inner world private. Being yourself, but also keeping everything that you know is kind of sacred or important to you to yourself until you feel like you are really strong enough to the degree where anyone can say anything or do anything in any situation and you couldn't care less. If you cannot comfortably and confidently say that that is you, group number one, keep more to yourself than you think you should. Okay, reveal things very slowly and very carefully. The worst thing that could happen if you keep more information to yourself than you kind of share is that you feel as though, okay, I need to share a little more, right? But then you just share. But the worst thing that could happen if you overshare is definitely a lot of mental agony and turmoil and anxiety. So don't put yourself in that situation whatsoever, especially with love, meeting new lovers, and being in any situation, romantically speaking. Keep your past private so nobody can use that as ammunition moving forward. Next up, we've got Reishi. So within Reishi, I can see here that you should not worry about seeming too mysterious whatsoever. I do see here within Reishi that creating this build-up and being a little bit mysterious is actually something that will really serve you and that will make you very attractive in many ways, romantically speaking. Also, if you are in a committed relationship, you don't have to reveal every single little thing that you're doing to your partner. Like, keep some things to yourself as well. That keeps the spark, the intimacy there, and it allows for that person to think, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're thinking. So definitely know that there can be like this build up to getting to know you, and it's okay to create that build up. It's okay to be part of creating this little anticipation that you've got going on, and it actually is something that can really serve relationships. So don't be afraid to do that. Even if it seems unnatural at first, it will serve you so much in the long run. Group number one, that's like a message that I had come through for you from your guides and from the universe that is especially important for your month of October. Now, group one, leave a bee emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you've made it to the end of your reading, because we are at the end of your October prediction. But don't worry, group number one, I have more readings coming. But in the meantime, feel free to give this video a thumbs up below, as well as subscribe to my channel to never miss another one of these predictions. I'd like to thank you for spending this divine time and space with me. Don't forget to check out my tarot decks and crystal rings. Those are also linked below, and I'll catch you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, all of my beautiful souls, signs of the zodiac, and earth angels of group number two. Let's figure out exactly what's coming towards your love life during the month of October. You chose the Oriens Animal Tarot as well as the clear quartz crystal to help you figure out exactly what your love life is going to entail during the upcoming month. This is a beautiful clear quartz crystal. This is what it looks like. This is a really cleansing stone. Now, you may have felt intuitively drawn towards it because you need that. You need a fresh start during the month of October in your love life. You need to rid yourself of unwanted energies and also maybe some grudges that have been held either by you or another person that we just need to get over so we can move forward when it comes to love. That's one message that we've already got here within the crystal of your choice that you felt drawn towards and that you just instinctively knew was for you. But let's move into your reading to figure out exactly what's coming towards you in this upcoming month, shall we? So first up, we've got the 10 of Swords. So we've got this new beginning depicted, and I want you to know that anything that hasn't worked up until October is not going to work at any other later point, group number two. The 10 of Swords is a card of completion, as you can see. We're at the end here. There's nothing that can be resurrected. There's nothing that can be brought to life that hasn't already been brought to life. So if there are relationships in your life, especially romantic ones, that you feel aren't going anywhere, bingo, group number two, you're completely right. They're not going anywhere. So it's time to either be okay with that or to abandon those relationships, especially if someone is hot and cold, is kind of ghosting you, or is never wanting to put a proper label on what your connection is. Know here within the 10 of Swords that it's time for you to just know that overextending yourself isn't going to do anything. It's time for you to move on, and also to ensure that you don't end up feeling like the victim in any case. If you are in a committed relationship, the 10 of Swords shows us here that you have to move on from some grudges and arguments that are literally just harming the relationship. Because as you continuously bring up the same patterns and cycles and arguments or fights and disputes, it is just eroding trust bit by bit every single time that happens. And you may not notice these little micro erosions that take place, but it's important that they get addressed so that you don't stay in the cycle that needs to be abandoned and needs to be moved on from. Because the number 10 in the tarot is actually a number of completion, of you being ready to start a fresh cycle at the number 1 again, at the ace, right? So when we're at 10, we know that The situation has given us everything that it could, whether that was to our fullest satisfaction or not. We've got to move on because there's nothing more to get out of whatever is there. It's time for a fresh beginning and for new opportunities. Next up, we've got the Four of Pentacles. Now, I see that what you're being called to do next, group number 2, I see that here within the Four of Pentacles, is to guard your resources, as you can see here, to hold them close, to hold them tight. And your resources are not just money, okay? That is also your health, your mental capacity, your time. Those are finite resources that are worth so much more than money ever will be. They're printing money right now as we're speaking, group number 2. There's no point in stressing out over money, but your health, your mental well-being, your time, and being ruthless about who is allowed to have access to that and who is allowed to spend some of your time with you or even kind of have time allocated to them. Yes, group number 2, be ruthless in your actions. Cut people off who clearly don't deserve your time because they just always take it for granted, or they just kind of show that they don't respect your time, either by showing up really late, by always canceling last minute without proper reasons. Know that especially when it comes to love, there's this game that needs to be played. And of course I can sit here and be all about, holistic, meditative states and so on, but let's be real, in this day and age, people are ruthless when it comes to love. People waste each other's time. And I wouldn't be a great tarot reader if I didn't tell you the truth. And the truth is that as soon as you feel something is off, move on. You don't need to see it through to the end and be heartbroken to know for sure that this person or this situation wasn't for you, group number 2. Simply move on as soon as anyone even gives you that little indication of them not being serious or being a time waster. Next up, we've got the Five of Cups. That will spare you so much drama, emotionally speaking, and so much hurt, honestly. The Five of Cups is a card that shows you that there is definitely loss there, and you may feel like, oh my God, I regret letting go so soon. And you may be afraid of having let go of the one or having had the one that got away. But let me tell you, group number 2, and this is something that other tarot readers will not tell you, and I just want to keep it very clear and to the point. If you really found the one, they wouldn't put themselves in a situation where you may want to let go of them. They would not put themselves in a situation where here in the Four of Pentacles, you feel as though your time may be wasted. They will make it abundantly clear that your time is the most precious thing to them. They will make it abundantly clear that spending any time with you is so valuable to them, so invaluable, like you cannot even put it into a number. You can't even put it into words how valuable spending time with you is. And that's the meaning of something being invaluable. You can't even put a number on it. So don't even worry about letting go of someone who even made you feel doubtful of the connection, because they were not the one, group number 2. And I'm just going to be really honest with you, and that's what we've got here within the cards. Those are the messages that I have coming through for you, and that is exactly what I'm hearing and what I'm receiving here within your reading. Next up, we've got the Four of Cups. Know here within the Four of Cups that there will be more time that's spent in solitude when you're being this ruthless with your time and your energy. But being in solitude is something that you will do happily, because you know that rather than spending your time out there with someone who doesn't respect you or your time, you're actually able to take care of yourself, to work on your business, maybe even to go back on that dating app and find someone better. However it is that you want to spend that alone time, you will have time to yourself that you will feel so much happier about than spending it with someone that makes you question your worth, your value, whether they even care about you that much. That's one thing that I can see here for the month of October for you. It's really a month of being kind in your words. So it's not like you're going to be mean to anyone, but ruthless in your actions, ruthless in just cutting off what doesn't deserve your space and your aura. And I see here within the world that actually ultimately this is going to lead to the greatest fulfillment you have ever experienced, romantically speaking, group number 2. The World card, in case you didn't know, is the final card of the major arcana within the tarot, and it is also one of the most favorable cards, as it is a card that depicts completion. It does connect on an astrological basis, not to be all geeky, but it connects to Saturn. And Saturn, in case you didn't know, is the planet of structure, of also responsibility and authority and maturity. And furthermore, I also want you to know here within Saturn that Saturn actually rules Capricorn, which is again a sign that's very like economical, that's efficient, that's disciplined. And furthermore, Capricorn, which, as we spoke about, which is ruled by Saturn, to get really, really geeky here, is ruled by the 10th house, which is the house of your career, your public image, your legacy. So I definitely want you to know here that when it comes to the World card, we have a lot of this, you accomplishing things, using things to your advantage, and anything that doesn't work out in that way, romantically speaking, you're discarding, because you know it's a dog-eat-dog world out here, okay? It's either eat or be eaten, and you're not trying to harm anyone, group number 2. You're a kind person, that's not your style, but at the same time, it's like you're not going to fall victim to people's games, to the game that's going on here when it comes to love. So I can definitely see you taking the lead and being ruthless during the month of October. And if you are in a committed relationship and you feel like your partner has taken you for granted, go out, group number 2. Go out, meet up with friends, meet up with acquaintances, with family, without your partner. Have them guessing what you're doing. And that's not to do anything manipulative. That is more for you to just show, hey, I can be by myself. I have my own life too. And honestly, when there is some distance, people have the opportunity to miss you and to think about you. And it often is definitely something that helps in relationships, especially when people are together all the time. And maybe that's something that you have experienced due to the circumstances in the world, due to the fact that a lot of people are now working from home. Maybe that really changed the dynamic in some of your relationships, and creating space, even if you have to create that space manually, is sometimes really, really life-changing and relationship saving. Next up, we've got the 9 of Rings. And now the suit of rings corresponds to the suit of pentacles in a traditional tarot. And actually just basically what this means is abundance and fortitude. The 9 of Rings shows us here that during the month of October, actually what's coming your way is abundance that you didn't expect. So more time than you expected, also more material resources, especially if things have been a little difficult or dry up until this point. And because you're being so ruthless and so real when it comes to your time and how you want to spend it, and also your money, the more that you seem ready for more responsibility, and that's exactly what you're receiving from the universe, from whatever source it is that you relate to, group number 2. Next up, we've got the 4 of Wands. Now, the 4 of Wands is a card of prosperity and harmony, and also of having like a solid base and foundation. The 4 of Wands definitely shows me here that we've got this certain element of celebration and excitement too. So I see that in October, maybe it's someone's birthday, maybe even yours, group number 2, but just like celebrating someone's accomplishment, someone's day. That's one thing that I see here within the 4 of Wands that's actually going to make you feel really good in October, that's going to get you out of the house and just kind of like reaffirm to you that you're doing the right thing when it comes to your love life. And again, an opportunity for you to maybe even find an excuse to go without a partner or without someone who you're seeing, just to remind them like, hey, don't take me for granted. Just because I'm always there and I'm loyal and I'm not doing anything to make you uncomfortable doesn't mean that I can't still go out and do things by myself. It doesn't mean that I'm okay with being taken for granted. So let's see what the universe has to say. And next, we've got a card right here that we intuitively received for you, group number 2, and another one that I intuitively just know is right for you. Let's start off on the left side. So we've got create and progress. One thing that I can see here for your love life for the month of October is that creativity will have you progress more than you expected. Then I see here in connectivity to gentleness that will actually kind of increase the gentle touch that you have for yourself and those around you, because when you're in a space of creating, you're not in a space of friction or of forcing something or pushing something. You're actually in a very like feminine, whimsical, romantic kind of space, and this is definitely something that cultivates this air of gentleness around you that's highly inviting also for romantic partners. I see here within the leap of faith for you, group number 2, that October actually calls for you to take some leaps of faith, which makes a lot of sense as to why we have you creating and being gentle, because we need a little bit of balance with the masculinity that comes with the leap of faith. The leap of faith is a very masculine foreshadowing and a very masculine card. So you having to do things like face some fears when it comes to certain paperwork, certain job projects, or personal things that you simply just need to face and do, and you can no longer procrastinate. That comes with a lot of this forceful energy and putting yourself in a situation that is uncomfortable. So to soothe yourself, we've got painting, for example. I think creating music, reading, writing poetry, all of these things create gentleness. All of these things help you to progress on your journey as well, because getting to know yourself is getting to know the good, the ugly, the bad, who you are when you're in love, when you're out of love, when you're feeling angry and anxious. And that's where I see that your creativity is leading you to getting to know yourself a lot more. The King of Wands shows us some divine masculine type of energy. The King of Wands is the king of fire signs. In case you didn't know, fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. These fire signs are very temperamental. They're very spontaneous too. And with the spontaneity comes a lot of power, but also maybe friction in some of your personal life. So try to keep people in the loop about what you're doing. If you're single and you're seeing someone and you don't want to alienate them, try to let them know what you're up to. If you are in a committed relationship, do the alone time things that we spoke about to keep things interesting and spicy, and so they no longer take you for granted. But at the same time, also just say what's going on, because we don't want anxiety levels to rise, right? We just want to make it clear that you're a high value individual who knows their worth and who can do things on their own. Like, you're not waiting for anyone to go out and do things with, but at the same time, you're not like disrespectful. You're of course going to let people know where you are, what you're doing, and also just kind of give people the memo for your safety as well. That's one thing that I see is important here. The King of Wands does also show me that if you are single, we've got a very creative and inspiring, forceful type of person that may come into your life through creative means. Okay, so if you're into the same type of thing, like for example creating music, you may meet this person during some sort of music event or in a way that is connected to this creative outlet that you have. Think of Facebook group or an Instagram group or reel, just following each other because you're kind of in the same world when it comes to creativity. And I do see here that this is the type of person that can inspire you to do more and take more leaps of faith during the month of October. And they could also actually turn into a romantic interest. If you are in a committed relationship, know here that there's definitely a little bit of this, I want to say this in a PG-13 type of way. There is some fantasizing going on. I see that in the leap of faith, the King of Wands, and create and progress. So there's someone who you find very attractive internally and externally, but you are in a relationship. So you know that if you take a leap of faith and you do something like stepping outside of the relationship, not to say that you would do this, group number 2, but even just thinking about it, it is, of course, you're playing through all of the scenarios in your head of what could happen. You know here within the Ten of Swords that it would be an ending to something that you have going on. So it's important for you to really think through what you're doing. And also if you're kind of fantasizing about another situation, romantically speaking, that's nothing to be ashamed of, okay? That doesn't mean that your relationship isn't good or that it needs to come to an end or that it will come to an end. Can it mean that if it repeatedly happens and there are some deep-rooted and deep-seated issues within the relationship? Of course, but in healthy relationships, you can still fantasize about another romantic situation, and it can just be that, just an innocent fantasy that you keep to yourself, that you never actually take the leap of faith with, because you know that that would of course change the fundamentals of what you've built up until this point. And I see here within the 10 of Cups that at the end of the day, in October, all you want for your romantic life is to be happy. All you want is to feel fulfilled, group number 2. You're a simple creature. You know that at the end of the day, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you fertilize it, where you cut the grass, where you water the grass, where you take care of the grass. That is where the grass is greener. And that's where I can see here in the 10 of Cups that you ultimately know that happiness comes from within, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. And you're not going to look around for it elsewhere. You're not going to scour the internet, because you know that a lot of what glitters is really not gold. It's not even brass. It's honestly not even copper. And this is something that you're very aware of, and just shows a lot of maturity within you, group number 2, and shows an October that's very level-headed and that will take your romantic life to the next level. Leave a little globe emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you made it to the end of your October love life reading, group number 2, and know that I'm so thankful to have had you here in this divine time and space. If you're interested in real handmade crystal jewelry that is meant to last for years, check out my jewelry below in the description box. It's linked, as well as my tarot and oracle decks that I've self-published, so make sure that you support us self-published authors. And I would just like to thank you for spending this divine time and space with me, and I can't wait to catch up with you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your October 2022 Love Life predictions. My name is Vanessa Somuayina, and I can't wait to guide you through what's happening in your love life during the month of October. You chose the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck as well as the Howlite Crystal Point. Let's first do a close-up on the crystal of your choice so you can get acquainted with its energy and vibration right through the screen, group number 3. This is the gorgeous Howlite. Now, your intuition and your instinct may have brought you to this crystal because it is a very calming type of stone. This is a stone that brings your mental realm to its center, that allows you to just calm yourself, your nerves, and your anxiety, and just brings you to a very grounded state. And that's one thing that I really love about this marble-esque stone, and maybe also why you intuitively felt like this was right for you. So excellent choice, group number 3. But now let's get into your reading, shall we? I can't wait to figure out what your love life holds in stock for you through figuring out what your guides and the universe has to say about your love life. Let's see what we've received for you right at the start. We've got the Internal Explorer. So I can see here for you, group number 3, that the month of October is going to bring a lot of exploration on a really intimate level. So this can mean exploring things on a mental level, but maybe also physically getting really close with someone, okay? The Internal Explorer being a sensual way of exploring, so behind closed doors with another person who you're into or romantically involved with. But the Internal Explorer, of course, also involves the emotional side of you and exploring how you really feel about someone. And if you are single or you're just seeing someone and you're in a connection that isn't necessarily defined, I want you to know that in October there's a lot of exploration going on about how you feel about this person. They're also thinking really deeply how they feel about you and where they want to take this relationship next. They're considering everything, and the fact that they're even thinking about you in such a way shows that there is some serious intent there from another person to be with you, romantically speaking. If you are in a committed relationship, group number 3, Know here within the internal explorer that your relationship is going a little deeper in October. You're thinking about the next steps, the next way in which commitment may enter the relationship. That could be moving in together, that could be signing legal documents, purchasing a home together, creating a family with one another. I see here within the internal explorer that there's so much depth that you're covering when it comes to your love life during the month of October, that it's definitely something that I encourage you to also take space from, and I encourage you to journal, to write down how you're feeling during this time, so you can always go back and reflect on it, but so you also have a bit of an outlet in case everything just becomes a little too much or even a little too exciting. Sometimes things are so great and so exciting that it can make you feel dizzy and it can make you feel a little bit overwhelmed. Let's see what message we've got next for you. The infinite. Okay. Group number 3, I can see here that during the month of October, it seems as though the possibilities are infinite for your love life, and they truly are, as I see within the internal explorer, that it's clear for you and anyone else with whom you are in any type of romantic predicament with, that you're really in the driver's seat. You're deciding what happens, what's going on, where the relationship is going to go next. And I do also see here that there's just this interconnectedness. You don't feel necessarily like there's only one person who can make you happy or there's only one person who can bring you joy. I see here that also connections that are not romantic, that are strictly platonic, friendships, sisterhood, brotherhood, things like that, that makes you feel so eternally grateful and so interconnected with other living beings that you understand that relationships that are platonic can be just as fulfilling as romantic ones. Next up, we've got reclaim your energy. Group number 3, taking back your energy, especially if you've put it out there and it's been lost or you've given it to someone who didn't take good care of your energy. This can bring you just so much more of this feeling of being re-energized and reinvigorated with prana, with life force, that it can be overwhelming, and that's where your journal comes into play, right? Make sure that you're journaling. I also have daily mindfulness and gratitude journey journals on my website that I designed and created. They're created with this like vegan leather, so like it's all environmentally friendly and no animals were harmed in the process. So know here within reclaim your energy that to take your energy back and to reclaim it, you first need to know where it is and how much of it is yours, right? So if you know that a lot of your energy has been going towards a project, for example, at work, or towards a relationship where you feel there's no reciprocity, like you're not getting the same energy that you're putting out there back to you, you have to probably cut some cords, emotionally speaking. Now, you don't need to tell people that you're doing this. You don't need to tell your boss you're putting less work into a project. You don't need to tell the person who's kind of hot and cold or kind of not really showing you what you need that you're pulling back. Don't tell them anything. Just do it, okay? It's all about making moves, not talking, group number 3, during the month of October for you. And that's the best way to reclaim your energy, because then you also don't have anyone in the way. Of course, if you start warning people and telling them what you're doing, they may try to get in your way because they understand how precious this resource of your energy is, and they of course don't want to lose it. But that's where you have to be ruthless and selfish. That's where you have to just act, group number 3. You can't hold back and you can't think of other people first. You have to think of yourself first. And sometimes you even need to do this with lovers with whom you've been with for a long time. Even if you've been in a marriage or committed relationship, you know this person loves you, you know this family member really cares about you. Group number 3, like sometimes people, they drain your energy without even knowing, without even realizing how much they drain it. And that's why it's important for you to be in charge of your energy, in charge of reclaiming it and taking it back if you've overextended yourself, and also of being okay with setting boundaries and being okay with knowing even those who care about you the most, they may not always know exactly what you need or exactly how much energy you've extended and how much of it you need back. And that's fine. Just know here within the Queen of Swords, like being self-reliant is what we've got here for you in October, group number 3. Not relying on anyone else to save you, to know what's best for you, to be in charge of your mental health. That is the most liberating, most strong feeling that you can experience, especially because it's hard to get there. But once you've overcome the hurdle of feeling like a victim or feeling like you wish someone would just protect you, you wish someone would just hold you in this cocoon, put you in this little egg and incubate you, keep you in the warmth and hold you close in a way that nothing could ever harm you, and then you realize life just doesn't work that way. You have to be that person for yourself. You have to take care of yourself in many instances because you have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. There won't always be someone there to protect you. If you have someone, you're lucky, but most of the time we don't. And that's where I see here within the Queen of Swords that this reliability upon yourself, this change of perspective of understanding that life really is in a way, a lonely path where we need to do a lot of the walking and the taking care of ourselves by ourselves. That can really actually remind you of the fact that, hey, if I need to take care of myself, I've got to be strong and I've got to stand up for myself. And I see here within justice that then you can create karmic balance. Then you can actually create a situation also in your romantic life where you don't have fear. Justice corresponds to the number 11, which is a master number of not only extreme confidence, but also leadership. And knowing that you are the leader of your life and taking full responsibility of your love life and your decision making will ultimately show you this cause and effect and also allow you to really mold your life the way that you want. For example, if you feel as though your romantic life is not exactly how you want it to be, and you take full responsibility for the fact that maybe you choose people who are toxic to you because you grew up in a family where toxicity was tolerated or was the only thing you've ever known, that's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean that you can't do better, though. That doesn't mean that you can't realize that and choose better for yourself and understand here that there is cause and effect. Of course, you know, if you grew up in an environment where it was normal to be with partners who are just simply not good for you, you can continue that pattern, and the effect will be that you are in a similar predicament as maybe your parents were in, your siblings, your close family members, but you can also choose differently for yourself. You can also choose for that to have the effect on you of simply rejecting continuing a pattern that is harmful and that isn't healthy. I see here within endless opportunities that group number 3, we will definitely be celebrating your love life at the end of October because you're understanding here that there are so many different opportunities, there are so many different paths that you can take, and you are not limited to paths that you thought were the only ones for whatever reason, okay? Whether you had a teacher or a boss or family members who told you that you would never become anything or that your path is already made for you and that kind of affected you. Or you just kind of were in a depressed state where you felt like maybe your love life is not meant to be like how you envisioned it being. But I see here that October comes with so much opportunity, especially if you're single as well, to just pick exactly what you desire and don't settle for less. That's one thing that we have coming through as a message for you, group number 2. That's one thing that I'm hearing. Don't settle for less. Next up, we've got the Rose. Now, in the Rose, I want you to know, if you are in a committed relationship, that your partnership is going to weave itself closer together again because of actually something that's cracking open, some pain, some hurt. Think of someone losing something that's precious to them. It could be a material thing. It could be like a family heirloom. It could also be losing someone close to you, you know, your partner, losing someone who is close to them. Maybe even a coworker who is leaving the place place who they were very close to. It could be just a situation in which they are cracked open, in which they feel despair, in which they feel very vulnerable because something that gave them a sense of groundedness is leaving. And that's where I can see here within the rose that actually you can use that opportunity to get closer to your partner, to get closer on an emotional and a physical level. And I see here within the internal explorer that it makes a lot of sense as to how you can explore new places internally. And emotionally speaking with a partner, the more they're like cracked open, just make sure that you don't pick around too much in their wounds. You have to let them heal too, group number 3. You can't be before someone who is cracked open, who's bleeding, who's got an open wound, and continue to pick around in it after they've kind of already shown you the wound. Okay, what you want to do is soothe it. What you want to do is see how big it is, see how bad the situation is, and then just soothe it and close it up and leave it there. Don't keep ripping off the band-aid and bringing it up over and over again. So you're going to want to pick very strategically when you speak to a partner with whom you're in a relationship or situationship with about something that is super deep, especially if they identify as male. They may not want to talk about this more than once. They may not be properly cracked open more than that one opportunity, group number 3. So pick wisely. Make sure you have all the time in the world. Make sure you're not about to go for an appointment. They're not about to hop on a work call or do something or go somewhere. Make sure that you have time to really get close to each other before you then kind of seal everything up and put the situation to rest after you've bonded, after you've used that opportunity to explore on an internal level, to be there for them, to create closeness. But then don't bring it up all the time, because then they may feel like it was a mistake, especially if there's someone who doesn't like to open up or who feels uncomfortable opening up. Next up, we've got the Lady's Mantle. Within the Lady's Mantle, I can see here that fortitude is something that you will find is asked of you in this situation that we just spoke about here when it comes to cracked open, when it comes to being close to a partner. You have to be confident in the fact that you can get everything that you need from a shorter interaction rather than bringing up interactions over and over and over again. And to just know here that during the month of October, honestly, no matter what kind of pain or adversity comes your way, you're handling things with so much love, with so much of this fortitude, with this courage, with this maturity, that is definitely something that makes you really attractive. And maybe that's also why you felt drawn to the Howlite, because that is a crystal of stability, of groundedness, and of someone who is mature, someone who others can count on. And I see that you are leaving those types of marks in people's minds, especially romantic partners, during the month of October, that you're someone whom they can count on, someone who's level-headed and mature. Next up, we've got the White Willow. Now, the White Willow shows us here that things flow effortlessly the more you kind of restrict emotionality from taking over in front of other people. Yes, group number 3, I am telling you to keep emotionality at bay during the month of October, especially because on the 9th of October, we've got a full moon in Aries, which is very fiery and impulsive. And then on October 25th, we've got a new moon and a solar eclipse in Scorpio. Scorpio is the most intense sign of the zodiac, and you don't want to unleash all of those energies, all of that emotionality on a person whom you're seeing romantically speaking. Okay, you want to make sure that you are giving people a little bit of time and space to say how they feel. And even when you want to react, don't do it. Group number 3, try to hold in how you feel so that people open up more and more to you during the month of October, and find that things just like flow effortlessly the less you try to react to them, the less you try to correct a situation, the less you try to put yourself in a spot where you're saying, well, actually, I feel this way or that way, do know here within the ways of water, the white willow, that just allowing for people to speak, allowing for things to flow, just listen, take time before you speak, and your answers will be very different than the moment in which you immediately wanted to react. Next up, we've got the daisy. So within the daisy, I can see here that in October, nevertheless, being yourself is top priority. And I see here within the daisy also that you're definitely going to be taking some photos, some new photos of yourself. So if you are single, know here that updating your dating profile is really going to help, and it's going to kind of show a part of you that you had not shown in the past, that you were maybe too shy to show, or maybe you just didn't have the right photos, and that will attract different types of partners. Being in a romantic relationship during the month of October and having the daisy show up is definitely also a symbol of you being the focal and center point in many ways in the relationship during the month of October, which also makes sense as to why you're being called to kind of just listen when your partner is cracked open, to just be an open ear, a shoulder to cry on, and to allow for them to take the center stage, if you will, to allow for them to have like a moment of being the center of the universe, the center of attention in the relationship, again, especially if you are the one who's been taking up a lot of space, which is not a bad thing. But I see that October is an opportunity for other people to open up to you and for you to make them feel really special about that, and for that to create a deeper bond with one another. So group number 3, leave a little flower, a pink flower emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you made it to the end of your October love life reading. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. Also, don't forget to check out my crystal jewelry that's all handmade, that will last you for years. These are cut and polished to perfection. It's all linked below in the description box. It ships straight from Switzerland to your doorstep, no matter where you are in this world. I'd like to thank you for spending this divine time and space with me, group number 3, and I'll speak to you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your pick a card reading about your love life during the month of October. My name is Vanessa Somuayina, and I will be guiding you through your prediction to figure out exactly what's coming towards your love life during this upcoming month. You chose the Tazama African Tarot deck in connectivity to the Aqua Aura crystal point. Let's first do a close-up of the crystal of your choice. This is the absolutely gorgeous Aqua Aura crystal point. It is so stunning and beautiful. You may have chosen this stone because of its external appearance, but you may have also intuitively deep within kind of felt like this is a stone that is calming, that is cleansing, that I need for my love life during the month of October, and that may have pulled you towards this crystal as well. Let's move into your reading to figure out exactly what's happening in your love life though, shall we? So let's see what message that we have to receive first, and then shortly thereafter we've got another tarot card for you. So first up, we've got the Strength card, group number 4. October is a month of strength for you. It's a month of patience, of compassion, and self-control. If you're single, you're not going to be running after anyone. People trying to play games with you are going to be unsuccessful, as you're not falling for it, you're not taking the bait, you're not double or triple texting, you're not catching feelings for someone who isn't catching feelings for you. If you're in a committed relationship, I can see here within the Strength card that you have compassion, and rather than letting someone rile you up, you're actually kind of taking the high road. You're being the bigger person, as annoying as it may be in some situations, group number 4. But I see here within the Strength card that you understand that in order to create longevity, it doesn't really matter who's right and who's wrong, right? It's about creating harmony. And at the end of the day, there's no point in being right, but being single and losing someone who meant a lot to you. But you may also come to the realization that maybe you're with someone who feels differently about that, and that can open your eyes about a romantic relationship that you've been in. Next up, we've got the High Priestess. Group number 4, you're ever growing, changing, and evolving. Of course, the High Priestess corresponds to the number 2, which is a number of duality. But I also see here in the High Priestess that we've got this non-action, which makes a lot of sense with the Strength card, because the Strength card is all about not being impulsive, not immediately acting, and also not meeting force with force. It's meeting force with compassion, with empathy. It's about receiving rather than dishing. And I see here within the High Priestess that we've got you in a very meditative and very mysterious type of state that people find hard to read. So during the month of October, I definitely see that if you meet someone completely new whom you're interested in romantically, they will find you to be very mysterious. They will find you to be secretive almost. They will find it hard to read what you're thinking, what you're going through. That will kind of draw them in a lot too, because they can feel that it's not coming from a place of insecurity, but it is actually coming from a place of strength and confidence. So that makes you very intriguing. That's one thing that I see here. Next up, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. Now, the Queen of Pentacles here also shows me that you've got a plan when it comes to your time and your resources, especially your finances, but this is a love reading. So I want you to know here with the Queen of Pentacles that we've got you being really patient where patience makes sense. Now, if someone just feels like they are wasting your time because they're hot and cold, they cancel dates last minute and so on, you may be nice to them when speaking to them, but you're ruthless in your actions. You're going to cut them off immediately. You're not going to give any more chances because you don't play with your time like that. And also getting ready to go on a date, all of these things, people don't reimburse you for that. People don't reimburse you for makeup if you wear makeup, or money that you had to spend on body and hair care products if that's something that you use. I mean, we're all different, but either way here in the Queen of Pentacles, you're counting those pennies and you're making sure that nobody is just able to access you, your time, or your resources without them truly being worth it. Next up, we have the Seven of Pentacles card, I believe, that popped up, but the Seven of Pentacles reversed. This is what it looks like upright. I see here within the Seven of Pentacles for you that we've got this kind of assessment of whether someone is worth it or not before you even go on a date. But also if you are in a committed relationship, I see some sort of reevaluation of the relationship during the month of October. And that's okay. I mean, just like we get to renew a lease on an apartment or a vehicle, for example, we should have that in relationships as well, because people change, circumstances change. Group number 4, I get it. And I see here in the Seven of Pentacles reverse, you're doing so silently. You're constantly reevaluating, well, not constantly, in October, you're constantly reevaluating because you're maybe even crossing an anniversary or a pivotal point in your life where now you have to decide what comes next. Maybe you want to start a family and your partner doesn't, and therefore you're reevaluating. Maybe you're single and you want commitment, but someone is showing you that they're actually not ready for commitment. Now you're reevaluating that connection because you know maybe this person just isn't as serious as you need for someone to be at this stage in your life. And it's okay to let go of people who are not matching your energy in different stages of your life. And I see here in the Seven of Pentacles that this is definitely something you're looking at, you're taking very seriously, you're reevaluating relationships based on that, and it is your right to do so. And I see in connectivity to the High Priestess and the Strength card that you're not afraid to walk away. And when someone isn't afraid to walk away, they just have a different energetic frequency and vibration about them, and people can feel that in you in October. People can feel that you're not playing around, and the Queen of Pentacles also depicts that, this kind of no nonsense, no BS energy that's coming from you. It's definitely intimidating some people. We've got the Knight of Swords here. The Knight of Swords is someone who has air sign energy, so think Libra, Aquarius, but we've also got Gemini energy in there. They're adventurous, creative. They are most likely a little bit younger than you. The Knight of Swords is someone who's interested in you. They aren't afraid of the energy that you're putting out there, but I do see here within the Knight of Swords that in a sense they feel slightly intimidated by your intelligence. That's one thing about the Knight of Swords, but they will never admit it, of course. Either way, they are coming for you, group number 4, whether you are in a committed relationship or you're single. I can see that they're highly interested in you, and they also have fire sign energy. So for one, they have got strong Libra, Gemini, but also Aquarius placements, and then with their fire sign energy, they've got Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius placements. So do know here that the Page of Wands shows me that their fire sign energy is more minor, whereas their air sign energy is more major. So I think their big 3, their sun, moon, and rising being more within air signs, and then maybe we have more minor placements here within fire signs. I want you to know that this person is most likely just a little bit too immature for you. Nevertheless, they're interested. They're showing up here within your reading because they're most likely very persistent about meeting you and being with you, group number 4. But you are in a place in your life where you need a little bit more stability, where you don't want to play games. And of course, if you're in a committed relationship, that may not be something you're even entertaining, period. Next up, we've got the Internal Explorer. I see within the Internal Explorer that this is definitely something that is important to you, internal exploration, someone who is mature enough to look inward, to self-reflect, someone who isn't afraid to look at themselves from a critical viewpoint as well. And I also see within the Internal Explorer that going for a health checkup is really important too, especially if you are a lady, group number 4. Getting those pap smears done can be life-saving and life-changing. It's better to make sure everything's fine before you have any bigger issues that show up. So if you've been putting that off for a long time, group number 4, make that appointment. Pause the video right now. Make an online appointment even if you can't call right now because you're out of office hours. Just know this is an important message for you to receive. Get those health checkups, even if it's just for peace of mind, right? And make sure that you leave a little water drop emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you're taking this seriously and that you're doing this, that you're taking your health seriously. It shows that you respect yourself. Next up, we've got alignment. So your love life is in alignment during the month of October. It's in alignment most likely because you're being ruthless, right? You're choosing you. And whenever you choose yourself, everything else has no other choice but to be in alignment, right? Because you've chosen yourself. So if you're choosing yourself, that means everything around you needs to be in alignment with what you desire, with what you crave, with what makes you happy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there because you wouldn't have chosen it. So that means it doesn't even exist within your realm. So alignment is something that comes naturally into your love life during the month of October, group number 4. We've also got some evolution going on here. So some big cellular changes. Well, big changes happening at a cellular level is what I meant to say. And these big changes being the dynamic that you have in relationships. Maybe in the past, you were the type of person who would wait for someone to choose you. You would be asking someone, well, do you like me? Do you love me? Do you care about me? Do you want to be with me? But now things are changing. There's an evolution. You're going from being chosen or just kind of choosing people based on how many people you think you can choose from to being there and saying, well, hold on, do I even like you? Do I even like who you are as a person? Do I even think you are someone who's worthy of my attention and my affection? Do I think you are a good person for me? So I see that everything is kind of doing this 180, this complete change where you find more confidence and you are not in a space where it's so obvious for other people that you're worried you won't find a good person again. You know, when you're dating someone and they're amazing, they seem too good to be true or something like that, group number 4, and you want them to choose you. But I see that that energy is completely dissipating in October. Now it's about you choosing the person, you're like, well, you seem great on the surface, but are you really that great? Like, do I even want you? Are you really the right person for me? Because while your resume may look great, we don't know who you are on an internal level. That's the type of evolution that I see you going through here during the month of October. And I see within healthy boundaries that this has everything to do with reminding yourself here that there is someone for everyone, and you have to set healthy boundaries between desperation and confidence, and also reminding yourself here that if something isn't meant to be, let it fly away, okay? Let it just be gone with the wind here, with the birds. Birds that are of the same feathers, they flock together, okay? And that is okay. If someone one or some situation is really meant to be, romantically speaking, whether you are single and just dating someone or you are already in a committed relationship, if you are worried that you taking time to think or you taking time away from the connection, taking time to just reevaluate is going to break things or is going to mean that they will walk away, that they will no longer be there, that they will not have the patience to stay, or that they may find someone new, that person was never meant for you, group number 4. That is where you have to set some healthy boundaries with yourself mentally and remind yourself, hey, if I am so worried about things going south, just because I'm not dedicating every waking moment or all of my eggs into this basket, if I am then worried that this is going to just go up in flames, maybe it's not meant to be, because what I really need is stability. What I really need is certainty in a relationship, is to know that I can look away or look the other way, and that doesn't mean that I am immediately single, like poof, they're gone, okay? So that is where these healthy boundaries are setting in. That's where we've got this evolution from someone choosing you to you choosing them, and you saying, hey, if you can't even wait for 5 seconds, if you can't even be loyal for a couple weeks, then clearly this is not it. Then clearly this was not meant to be, because I deserve better. And that's where you are setting those boundaries between feeling like, oh my God, I'm never going to find someone this amazing again, to reminding yourself, if these things are off, were they really that amazing to begin with? Probably not, group number 4. And I really hope that you can appreciate this big sis kind of talk, me just being very honest with you, because I find it so important to not be a reader that just says what people want to hear, but who really gives it to you the way it is. And in this day and age, it's very important to be tough and to sometimes be ruthless in your actions, kind in your words, but ruthless in your actions when it comes to love, because I don't want any of you to get played. There's one thing about, being spiritual, being connected, being peaceful, being kind, and choosing love. But at the same time, we still need to be alert. We still need to be awake, because the entire world isn't all about tarot, kindness, and love. Unfortunately, when it comes to romantic love, there are still certain games that are unsaid that need to be played until we can find ourselves in a healthy relationship and a healthy situation. And it is important to find that mixture between being kind and being in tune with the divine, with the universe, with God, whatever you'd like to call it, and still being, of course, realistic and rooted in the real world. Next up, we've got the best of you. Now, group number 4, I can see here that in October, you will really find that this month does bring out the best of you, because you've got the boundaries, you've also got you being authentically yourself. You've got this non-reactivity when you actually want to react immediately, which gives you these responses that are very mature that you're sharing with people that you're seeing, romantically speaking. So it's like a great mixture that you're going through here during the month of October that also really amps up your value. So people see you as wifey material, as husband material, because you just kind of ooze this confidence that people want to see in a long-term partner. And all the people who are maybe not quite ready for someone who knows who they are, They are, of course, not going to stick around for very long because, again, you have this no-nonsense type of energy during the month of October, group number 4. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that you left that water drop emoji below in the comment section. While you're down there, don't forget to thumbs up this video. And also, if you love some handmade crystal rings straight from Switzerland that will last you for years, check out my website. I also have my tarot decks and my gratitude journals on there, as well as my How to Become a Great Tarot Reader course. You can find that all online. I would like to thank you for spending this divine time and space with me. I hope you feel well prepared for October. The whole point of my videos is to make you feel well prepared, to be real with you, to give you the support and encouragement that you need. And I really hope that I was able to provide that for you, group number 4. So I would like to thank you for being here, for spending this divine time and space with me. And I'll speak to you during one of my upcoming predictions.